Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another fabulous episode, guys, of Exit Strategy Radio Show. Hey, I'm your host, Colvin J. Millett, broker and owner of Exit Strategy Group. See, I mumbled that a little bit this time, didn't I? Yeah, y'all heard it. Exit Realty Low Country Group in beautiful North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, look, as always, we're set for a dynamic show, and we're going to have a good time. So look, if you are sitting close, if you're home, if you're driving now, don't you dare reach over and grab a pen. But if you're sitting around the house, I need you to go get a pad. I need you to go get a pen or a pen. Matter of fact, let's not use a pencil. We'll see, pencil might rub away or something. We need this to be permanently ingrained because we got some very good information for you here today. So guys, for our listeners from one end of the county to the other, from one end of the country to the other, from one continent to another, because guys, you are everywhere listening to the show. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Guys, today we have with us none other than Tamara Rivers. And Tamara, I'm going to let you tell the people about your company. So Tamara, welcome to the Exit Strategies Radio Show.
Thank you so much, Cohen, for having me. Like Cohen said, I am Tamara Rivers. I am the owner and founder of the Financial Transformation, where my goal is to help individuals and families $1 at a time.
Ooh, that's a word.
Yes.
Hold on. Say that's the mission. Say that one more time.
Yeah. My mission is to help individuals and families $1 at a time.
I love it. So if you don't mind, tell our listeners, Tamara, now look, me and you go way back. So look, I am not going to look here, mess with your thunder. I'm going to let you do all of that. What do you tell our listeners, if you don't mind, what is it that you do? What service you offer? You got a plethora of them going on over there.
Yes, I do. And I am so passionate about this, Cohen. As you know, my background, my services was based on just credit restoration, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, what has evolved is I noticed that if I just fix a score, what am I doing to that individual? I'm just fixing a score. Am I really getting to the bottom of that problem, right? So from that, of me working with clients, fixing their credit, I do personal financial coaching. That is where I help them get their personal finances together, budgeting. And most people think of budgeting, they want to cringe, but I don't want to hear the word budgeting. Well, you have to, because we got to get our finances in order, right? So I talk about budgeting. I go into teaching financial literacy as well. So next month, I will be launching my second mini Mastering Your Finances to Master Your Life. So we will talk about the psychology of finance, and that is your behavior with money. Individuals don't know that their behavior is connected to a certain style and how they utilize their funds. So what is that behavior? What is the root? So I teach financial capabilities. I do personal finance coaching. I help business owners create credit. So, and making sure that their business is set up properly so they can get the funding that they need to expand, to grow. So I got so much things in the work. And not only that, Coleman, from the Financial Transformation, I have also added a division, which is the Financial Care Center. That piece of the business just focuses on financial literacy. Financial literacy. There is so much individuals that lack basic financial literacy. I think that is the key. So that piece is just going to be focused on getting in the community, doing economic empowerment events, teaching them how to work with credit and money and how budgeting, credit, and everything go hand in hand. So the Financial Transformation, we are walking into our 5th year. So I tell people, my business is young, but I am not. I've been in this industry for over 15 years.
Yep. Yeah, you've been around for a bit, so we go back.
That's right.
So I'm going to jump in right here and kind of bring pieces of it back around, and then let's go forward again. I'm gonna give you this term that I use. So people don't like the B word. The budgeting word scares the mess out of people. It makes them uncomfortable. Some of them automatically get nauseous because they already know what they already know what their finances look like. I talk about it from the perspective of the expense management plan, EMP. Some of them need the EMS, but but
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
need some mercy help. But speaking about it from the expense management plan, or from that perspective, you're able to kind of get a handle for our listeners, guys, you're able to get a handle on what it is you got going on. Budgeting is not bad. We've associated the budgeting because it's uncomfortable. That's the reason. And
It's
and that's
very uncomfortable.
exactly. And that's part of what you were just talking about, which let's go forward with, because people manage their money oftentimes by how they feel. Is that fair?
That is so fair.
Okay.
That is
So
so fair. And that's why
elaborate on that.
financial psychology came in. And when I was studying, I'm like, this is something we have to start off with. Yes.
Look here, around my house, I already know that. Look here, if I look up and I see some bags in the house, what's wrong, baby? What's wrong? Because
Right?
if Amazon coming to my house a little bit too much, oh, you okay? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And even for me, I used to, if I get stressed out, what
Mhm.
made me feel good is I'm going to shop.
Yep.
I'm going to shop. I'm going to change my hair. I'm going to do this because at that time I'm feeling depressed. So I go spend money that I really don't have no cause spending, right?
Mhm.
So how do we get control over that?
Mhm. Yeah. So that means, see, for our listeners, I want y'all to take this right now. And I want you to think, if you bought something recently because you needed to feel good, then there's a problem there. And we need to get to the underlying problem. That's what Tamara's talking about. We got to get to the underlying problem, because that is what drives the behavior that then impacts your money. And when you mess your money up, then you feel bad all over again. It's a
Right?
cycle.
So now it's like a dog chasing its own tail because you didn't solve the issue. So let's say, for instance, when I'm working with somebody with their credit, and the first thing I'm like, okay, we need to go over this budget. I don't want to
Mhm.
go over a budget. Yes, because something you mismanage your
Mhm.
finances and now
Mhm.
it's starting to show up on your credit. So we got to fix the root of the problem in order to address the credit issue.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, budgeting and having the knowledge of basic financial literacy will solve a lot of problems that some of these individuals and families are going through.
So let's kind of walk through, like, let's talk the basics. Because you start talking about, most people don't realize, most people spend or operate based upon what they can see. And what I mean by that is, they at the store, they want to make a purchase, they open their bank app and they see they got money there, and they go ahead and make a purchase. And sometimes, or most times, well, in that instance, if you have something that's on a recurring payment or something somewhere else, you're going to miss it. So we don't educate the children or anybody nowadays on how to balance a checkbook. And that's really what we're talking about doing, just simple balance. If you paid this, or what have you, wrote this check for this, or made this payment online and hadn't processed yet, what you see in the app is not accurate because there's still something pending. Fair?
Fair, fair. And that brings me back, Colin. And the reason why I adapted to and grasped towards financial literacy, because I can remember when I was 16 and I got my first job.
Mhm.
Okay. I got my first job, got my paycheck, and I went outside, and there goes my dad. Like, what is he doing here?
Uh-huh.
But dad picked me up to take me to a First Citizen
Okay.
that was in our neighborhood, and he set up me a checking account and a savings account. And
Mhm.
once we got back to the house, he sat me down and showed me how to balance a checkbook.
Mhm.
And he taught me the fundamentals, just like you said. Well, you knew you got 200, but you already wrote $150 out there. Could you
Mhm.
go spend $200?
Mhm.
No, because you only got $50 left.
Mhm.
So some people, in a day of technology, of course, we don't have checkbooks anymore. We just look at the app.
Yeah,
But we got to have some type of ledger that we could refer back to that says you've already spent 150 of that 200. You know you can't spend 200. All you have is $50.
hmm hmm
So some of it is just like you said, it's the basic stuff that we are missing or individuals just don't want to pay attention to, that is getting them into this vicious cycle.
Very true. So, technology allows us to do a lot and it is convenient in some aspects and obviously with proper usage. However, on the other side, for our listeners, guys, if you are someone who doesn't sit down and look at X, Y, and Z and you like to rely on technology, then you need to find you an app that helps you to manage your money so that you can, the things that we're talking about, so it assists. However, we cannot, and no matter what the technology does, we cannot not understand the basic premise and the fundamental. So you bring in an app to do something that you in turn don't know how to do yourself if you don't have the app. That's a problem.
That's
So
a
you
problem.
need to understand how to do X, Y, and Z. How do I, expenses versus income. I mean, at the end of the day, if you if you at a deficit, if you run out of money before you run out of month, we got a problem.
We got a problem. So me, myself, and I don't know about you, Coleman, but I tell people when I get up, one of the first things that I do, of course, is pray. The second thing is I'm checking my bank account. I'm
Mhm,
checking my bank account.
mhm,
So if you even got to sit down every other day might be too much, but once a week, just to
mm.
see where you are and plan your week, that's going to help you avoid those issues of insufficient funds, bouncing a check. And I don't even know, some banks is big on paying a check and they charging you $75 each time. So
Mhm.
think about how much money you're throwing away because all you need to do is spend no more than 30 minutes a day reviewing your financial statements.
So that takes us back to what we're talking about mindset because you're right. Some banks do offer that service. Okay, we'll cover it for you or what have you, so you don't have the. And I get it, but $75 adds up too. And so when you're doing, if you have several of those a month, now that is, if it's five of them, that's $350 a month that you spent covering insufficient or what have you. And we forget that we utilize that as a crutch.
Yes.
The other thing is the overdraft protection. This is something, and I know this, but when we're looking at it from the real estate side and sales, if you're in the middle of a real estate transaction and in your bank statements you have overdraft, so maybe you do have the money in savings but your checking account just keeps getting overdrafted and they have to pull it over from your savings account. To you, you're saying, okay, well, the money is there, but to the lender, they're saying, wait a minute, you're not managing your checking account. That's a problem. So they still treat it as an NSF, which
Right.
means that, okay, no, you ain't buying a house now because you have overdrafts in your checking account, even though the money's in savings, and people can't understand that. So it's all mindset. It really is.
It's all mindset. And that's why I thought it was important when I was putting these 7-week classes together that we start off in that area, trying to change the mindset on how you view your financial situation, how you look at finance, period. We got to work there first so we can go into other areas because if we skip over that, you're constantly going to go back to the way you were thinking. So, are you really fixing the problem?
That is fake.
For an example, I had one client, I was working with an individual. The money was there. The money was there. And this is what I mean, your relationship with money. And we don't realize it until somebody bring it out of us, right? So the money was there. She made good money, but she was paying things late. And I
Mhm.
was like, why are we doing this? Because you have the money. Let's go ahead and pay these things and bring it on time. And I said, there's a problem why she's holding on to the money. And I sat down when we were doing a budget. I said, if you pay everything today up to date, you're still going to have over $1,000 and you get paid the following day. And you know what she told me? When she was growing up, her parents did not have. They
Mhm.
would come home and they would ask for certain things, and mom and dad could not provide. She was afraid that one day one of her three children would come home and ask her for something, and she didn't have the money because she paid all of the bills. She
Mhm.
didn't want her kids to go through that.
And
So in her head, all of this was the reason why she was doing what she was doing. So once I got her back on track and we worked through those things, she's in a better position right now. And I told her, I said, you still had money because after you paid everything, you still had over $1,000 left and you were getting paid 2 days later. That was deep, right?
yeah, look here, that's heavy. I'm over here rubbing my head. I'm so sorry to our listeners that are looking at me because that's really what it is. Everything that we do things, and this is one of the things that I say. We do things because of or in spite of. Oftentimes, sometimes it's because of. So her experience, the things that she does now is because she had this experience there. But there's some people that come from situations where financially either they didn't have or financially things just weren't taught or what have you. And in spite of that, they manage their financial situation completely different in spite of.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, guys, it's not a crutch. We don't have to use it as a crutch. We can use it not to prop ourselves, but to lift ourselves. So we can turn it into stilts. We can turn it into a pole and do a vault off of it. We can do a number of things with it, guys. It's up to you. But that's huge right there. That's so heavy,
Yeah.
so heavy. And there's so many people with a story like that.
So many, so many. And like you said, it could go either way. Some people use it as, okay, I'm going to be better because of this. And then other people see it differently. So, yeah, it all goes back to our mindset again. And just being financially literate, I just cannot say it enough, is going to put you in a different driver's seat.
So let's take the listeners at least a little bit into like the beginning of what a program. So you wrote a 7-week course to walk people through a process to get them to a place where they are in better control of their finances. So what's the name of that course?
The name of the course is Managing Your Money to Master Your Life.
No, I love that. Managing your
So,
money to master your life. Oh, I
to
love
master
that.
your life, we're going to start from the beginning, which is financial psychology. So,
Okay.
changing our mindsets, our financial behavior. And then from there, the second week, we're going to talk about saving, budgeting, and expenses. Because some don't know, okay, we got our fixed expense, we got our
Mhm.
flexible, and we have our variable, I mean, our periodic. Some will never think to budget in our periodic expenses. So when you think about periodic, you got Christmas, you got taxes that's on your car. Here in South Carolina, we pay taxes. Those things that come quarterly, you can go ahead and budget that in. So
Mhm.
now it's not a huge burden on you when it comes. Your taxes are due here the same year every time. I just
Mhm.
found out in Florida, some of this stuff are due on their birthday. It goes by the individual birthday, yeah. But here in South Carolina, if you bought the car in July,
Yeah.
a year later, your tax is going to be due. So, you can budget for those things. So we
Mhm.
teach them all about the different expenses and the categories to put these expenses in and how to build a savings, whether it's a short term, long term, you're saving for a trip. All of these things can be planned out. So it's not a huge burden. Then we talk about account management.
Mhm.
Now, Cohen, I don't know about you, but I run into so many people that are unbanked. For whatever reason, they don't trust the bank
Yeah.
or whatever. So
Look
when I
here.
think about this, I'm like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
We got to try to do something because if you want to buy a house, you got to have a bank account, right? If
Mhm.
you want to buy stuff and gain assets, you need a bank account.
Mhm.
So I said, we got to teach them about account management and building a trusted team. Because in my experience, I learned that your local banks having a relationship with your banker is so important. I feel like your local bankers and your bankers can be the vehicle to help you get to so many things.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't believe that so many individuals were unbanked. Yeah.
So I'm not to cut you off, but one of the things I found with that, people are unbanked because they've had the negative experience with the bank because they overdrew accounts, they got fees and all this stuff. So then well, I don't want to bank anymore. But that should be the time that okay, let me learn from this and learn to manage my money. Then it doesn't help. You get all these other payment apps and stuff, and now people will take your direct deposit here. But at the same time, your bank was trying to help you. You have the opportunity to learn. Let's go back and let's learn it this time so we can do better.
Yes, yes. And they have the different cards that they go, but it's nothing like going to your neighborhood bank and building that relationship with your banker.
Exactly.
So we have that. And then week 4 is what I love, my meat and potato. We talk about building a good credit profile. We talk about credit and building the credit profile. And that's actually a 2-part course because it's a lot when it comes to credit. But once you understand that credit game, you're going to be in the driver's seat. So many people allow credit to be on top of them. And now you're going to be able to get on top of it. Okay?
Credit be beating them down out there. Be beating them down, Tamara. I mean, they be getting beat.
Yes. So, now, you're going to learn about the individuals and even me before. Do you know that there is 49 different credit bureaus out there that has your information? 49.
That's an eye opener for our listeners right there. How many? 49?
49.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what I try to teach my consumers is that, okay, I went, Coleman, I know you heard it, Credit Karma or some other credit app told them that they were a 650. And when they go to the lender, their heart is broken because they're a 600 or some may be 5. So I like to teach them that it's not that Credit Karma is wrong. It's not that those different apps are wrong, but what model are you looking at? You need to be making sure that you're in the right scoring model based on what you are applying for. So you know that there is a mortgage model for mortgage. There's another set of scores for you if you was to buy a car. Then there's another set of scores for insurance. Another set of scores if you want a credit card. So when you start looking at these scores and wondering, this is wrong, that is wrong, what score model are you looking at? Because the lenders use a combination of 3 different FICO scores. We learn all of that in this credit class and how to address some of the issues that may be on your credit the correct way. Then this one here, I had to add government and economics.
Hold on. You about to hurt their feelings now. Go ahead.
Listen, Linda. A lot of individuals, Coleman, believe it or not, do not know the difference between their W-2s and their taxes, their tax returns. A lot of them make mistakes on their exemptions on their job, and now they come to you when they're ready to buy a house, and their taxes is all messed up.
Wow, that's huge. You know what? That's huge.
Yes. And I've been doing this for 15 years. And I would tell people, I said, we need your tax returns and your W-2s. And I will get fussed at because they will tell me they turned it in. And the whole time they turn in their taxes.
Interesting.
Or
they're really getting defeated, getting beat, defeating themselves because they're not, because they're come on, oh wow, that's a lot is wrong with that. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and it's just little things as you're doing the wrong exemptions on your taxes. So you know what I'm saying? Or somebody told them to claim 9 and they're trying to figure out why they got to pay back.
So I'm gonna mess you up with this one. Matter of fact, I know you don't seen it. Because see, I went through a period of time a few years ago where I had a number of clients, whoever they had doing their taxes, were filing like they were self-employed to give them deductions. and then open them up. So what happened was they would adjust their income down, so then they wouldn't qualify for a house or had an issue in qualifying. They think they're fine because they had a W-2 for this, but they writing off that they've been selling bundles or something and losing money on selling bundles. And now here you go, you can't qualify to buy this house. That's huge because
Yeah,
that's exactly what that is.
exactly. So I put this class in there because I want individuals to understand that part. So we focus in on payroll. Some don't know the difference between net and gross,
Mm, mm,
different deductions. So that's what week 5 that we're going to do. And then we go into loans and debts. So we talk about how you get qualified, how you manage the debt. So as you see, Coleman, we're giving them the whole, we're taking the
comprehensive.
whole, yes. So when individual that invest their time and just $47, they're going to have a whole holistic approach when they come out. If they take this, because knowledge is power.
Yeah,
So if they
you're
take
right.
this knowledge and they start applying it, they
Hmm.
should be in a better space. Okay. And then what I thought, with me being a personal financial coach, the 7th week, excuse me, is career planning. And with career planning, I thought about would be an awesome way to end because sometimes the money is just not there.
Mm,
Okay. It's but so much. We go and we try to cut back. We cut back. We're working on the budget, but we still don't make enough to afford the house that you want, right?
mhm,
So now we may have to make some changes.
mhm,
So, with career planning, we're going to look at what are you good at? What are you doing now? Is there room to grow? So you can kind of plan your career. It may not be that job you're on right now. You may want this job, but how do we get there? What skills are you sitting on? We bring that part out of the individuals and say, okay, let's look at that. And again, I'm not teaching all of these courses. With career planning, I have partnered with a young lady by the name of Dominique. She is going to be teaching that course. She
mhm,
is she is the manager of Staff Mart.
mhm,
So she can
mhm.
help with resumes, all of these things, because like I said, sometimes enough money there.
So you're serving, and I love this. I love it. You're serving essentially the whole the the matter of fact, the whole person. Because I know you interject because you're working on mindset. There's no way in the world that you can work on someone's mindset without trying to touch their spiritual side as well. So it's fully involved because you got to work on quote unquote, the whole man to in order to get them in order to get them there. That's massive. So can people take is this class? I know that you guys do it in person, but you do it online too, right?
Yes, this particular set of classes that will start September 13th will be online, and they could actually go to Eventbrite to register. Like I said, it's just $47 for a class. They
Okay.
could take one or they could take all,
Okay.
$47 each. So it will be online. So you don't have to be locally in the
Mhm.
Charleston area. Like I said, some of the classes are 2-part, some are just one night. But yes,
That is huge.
yeah.
So, Tamara, if you would drop your information, if you don't mind, your phone number, how can people get in contact with you? We want to see people register for this class. If guys, our listeners, if you missed this one, make sure you register for the next one. But Tamara, drop your phone number. How can in contact information? How can people get in contact with?
Okay, you can get in contact with me at 843-285-9502. My office is also located at 8570 Rivers Avenue. I'm actually in the new Opportunity Center on Rivers Avenue, Suite 161. Yes, yes,
Awesome, awesome. Look here, you in the house over there. Opportunity Center is the business. So look here, you are in the house. I love it. I love it.
yes, yes.
So for our listeners, guys, look, we've had a fantastic show. We have got, look, I've got to get you back. I've got to get you in some other places doing some other things with us because we want to spread this message and this word of financial literacy. That is part of the mantra of this show, of what our mission is, which is to empower our community through financial literacy and real estate education. That is what we do, legacy building. That's what we do.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Tamara, for being a part of
I
the Exit
thank
Strategy
you for
Radio
having
Show.
me.
You're more than welcome. So we're going to get something scheduled. So for our listeners, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in today. As we always tell you in closing, guys, this is one been a dynamic show, but we always tell you in closing, guys, we love you, we love you, we love you, and we're going to see you guys out there in them streets.